So I'm sitting with Greg and Stu because I think we should concede.
Yep. So do I. It's a shame that you're conceding because that doesn't give me a chance to get to my top 5 ghosts.
Speak for yourself. We are not conceding. We are winning.
Domonique, get in here.
What are you doing? I refuse. I refuse. I'm over here. We're having a great show. It's funny. It's fun. It's smart. This show has been bleeping fantastic, and you got a little bit of pushback, and then you crumbled like a cheap shacket.
Ooh, what about this? We have a new
Folded
game.
like a cheap suit, huh?
Now it's this room versus that room.
Oh, man. I'm trying to get out of the business of competing with the people I work with.
It's a jerk.
And you want to coach?
And Chris is dancing like
Domonique
an
needs
Egyptian
help.
stereotype.
He needs help in the concession speech category. His partner concedes, and then I didn't hear a concession from Domonique.
One hop
hear
this
it.
time.
Recount.
Number 5, the Galloping Ghost. Number 4, Casper the Ghost.
Friendly ghost.
Remember.
Friendly Ghost, my
Friendly.
bad.
Not
Number 3, the Holy Ghost.
Amen.
It's a good one.
Number 2, the ghost in Bill Simmons' attic. Tired of those ghosts. And number 1, Patrick Swayze.
Pottery had never been more erotic than Swayze.
Morning Wood.
Good energy in there, fellas. I love it. I'm glad that you guys are bringing it. This is fun. Outstanding energy. Good information, too. I really like the friendly. That was a good addition. That came from this room.
Yep.
Was Patrick Swayze dead in that movie? Was that like a spoiler alert? Like The Sixth Sense, right? Was like the one where the person's a ghost the whole time. Was he dead and like that pottery thing was a ghost person?
You're saying,
alert.
was there a
No.
Sixth Sense reveal at the end of the movie Ghost, starring Patrick Swayze?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I'm just kind of curious.
No, he was killed in the movie.
Oh.
Yes.
My only experience with the movie Ghost comes from Vin Diesel's The Pacifier, which is a great children's movie with Vin Diesel where they have a ghost protocol and ultimately they stick a DVD into a DVD player and it plays the movie Ghost. And that's the big joke that clearly was just made for parents and not the youths like us. Younger and smarter.
Mm-hmm.
Greg has a list written down of his own.
Thanks for nothing. I mean,
With bad posture, he's been looking up stuff the entire break. No one can look into a little tiny tablet with bad posture better than Greg Cody.
Why do
Thank
you
you.
like the tablet with the like keyboard attachment? Why don't you just get a laptop?
And this is how he does his columns too. It's not like this is his mobile unit. This is how, like, right how you
I
see
hunch.
him. That's
I
how he works
hunch.
every day.
Sue me. I'm hunching.
Worked for Quasi.
The
Hunching
hunchback.
it.
The
Lawyer.
hunchback.
Yeah.
I got my top 5 Watsons if you want it.
Why? Oh, right.
Oh,
We were going to
Jesus.
talk Deshaun Watson. I forgot.
Right.
Yep.
yeah.
And
That's what you left for us. I mean,
and conspicuously absent from my top 5 Watsons, Deshaun Watson.
All right.
That's right.
Number 5.
Number 5, Watson Island, right here in Miami. Number 4, Bubba Watson, PGA Tour.
You know he's a live guy.
He still makes my
you know what else
list.
he is? A Masters champion.
I'm just
Damn
saying,
right
my
he is.
dad wrote many a
Twice.
column.
Yeah.
Like, just anyone with live, and now all of a sudden Bubba's one of his favorites.
I mean, he's not top 3.
He didn't say he was
That's right.
good. He just said
Exactly.
It's
he
hard
was
to
a
find
top
Watsons
Watson
out there.
fan.
I mean,
Number 3, former Houston Astro, Bob Watson.
Bobby Watt.
Side note, when should I be drafting Christian Watson?
Sleeper.
Number 2, actress Emma Watson. And number 1, Sherlock Holmes' devoted friend, Dr. Watson.
Devoted friend.
Thank you.
Take a swig. That was good.
Thank you.
Right foot, 2 stomps.
What about Pookie Watson?
Yeah, what's Pookie at?
Who?
Yeah, it's just
It's his list.
just a spot for
Make your own list.
certain listeners.
Turn
will
into an
appreciate
owl.
that.
Top 5 owls.
Lane Kiffin. Well, he used to be.
That would be a good list. Top 5 hours. Schnellenberger's got to be number one.
You conceded to this. You conceded to this, Pablo.
I regret everything that I've
I've never
said this
been
segment.
more angry and disappointed at someone. We were winning. We had the lead. You just conceded to
You know
go
what?
in there and do owl lists.
Here's the problem, and this is why Pablo conceded. You just couldn't match Wooden Leg.
Yeah.
You know, you just couldn't come up with anything that resonated nationally like Wooden Leg.
Went back to the God
Whatever
well one
happened
too many
to
times.
Wooden Legs?
Yeah.
How about the Wise potato chip, Al?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good
You know,
album.
I've not seen Wise in certain supermarkets, but I think that it's like demographically based because I will see them in that same chain in another location, but not in certain locations, which makes me wonder what's up.
I love Wise potato chips because they're extra salty.
More economical than Lay's as well.
Yeah, correct.
Top 5 owls. Number 5, Owl K-Line.
I like it.
That's all I have right now. I'll get back to you in number 4.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
This is your team, Pablo. It's your team. You conceded.
Albert Pujols.
Pulos.
Jim Aldmans.
Was that for Jim Edmonds?
Albert Bell. Back to you guys.
That was 4.
Greg, you and I had a really good conversation before the show about the women's national team. I know you are a big soccer guy. You
Yep.
watched all of those games. I'm not sure if you watched them at the hour that they were playing.
I
but
did.
I know you. Yeah, so what's your final takeaway? We didn't get your thoughts yesterday. I had lots of thoughts. I'd love to hear what you got to say.
You know, I hate to say it. The U.S. women's national team, to me, choked in losing to Sweden. It doesn't take away from the great dynasty they had or all they did off the field, you know, for equal pay, for LGBTQ rights and all that stuff. Kudos to them. But in that game, they outplayed Sweden in regulation and in extra time. They had the 6 or 7 best goal chances in the game, put none of them in the net. And then in penalty kicks, this is unheard of. I said on my podcast, The Greg Cody Show, that when you miss 2 penalty kicks to literally blow it and lose and get ousted in the World Cup, that's like, it's inconceivable. That's a 3-foot putt. You're missing free throws. It's crazy the way they lost that game.
But kudos to them.
Kudos to them in the long range, but in the short term, the way they lost is like losing a national spelling bee by misspelling the word cat.
You've said that joke so many times.
It's
this
not
week.
really a joke. It's a metaphor, but it's, you know, and I mean it. And so
It's
Equal
what
pay
makes
and all
the
that
penalty
stuff.
kick so, you know, it's what makes it the most tricky thing in sports because it's so easy, or at least it looks so easy that when you miss, you get those types of reactions, not just from the players, but from fans as well, because it seems so easy. I mean, I'm the guy sitting here, and I said this years ago, if you put me in front of a professional goalie, give me 5 PKs, I would score like 3 or 4 times.
But this is the difference between Dwight Howard, NBA player, sinking every free throw in practice and then going out there in a game and,
Right.
to Greg's point, choking. Like the idea that they choked, cosign. I'm willing to be I'm happy to even laugh at how this game ended for them. It was abysmal in the ways that Greg alluded to. But the idea that it was easy to win is where I get off that train.
it's crazy. And the second missed penalty kick was by Sophia Smith, their rising star. She's 22 in her first World Cup. You can forgive her the massive nerves that
She had
must
just
have been
entered the
feeling.
game, right?
No, she had
Rapinoe
entered a
had
good
just
bit
entered the
earlier.
game, yes.
But Rapinoe, the veteran of all veterans, for her to choke like that in that situation, she could have been the hero. They win on her penalty kick.
Right.
And for her to miss it.
But
and
they would have won on the next penalty kick as
They
well.
would have, right.
Yes.
But that's Sophia
But all the
Smith.
focus is on Rapinoe because she's the veteran. She's one of
Yes.
the greatest soccer players of all
because
time.
she kind of smiled afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
She
As
kind of
if-
smiled.
I mean, that part is just absurd.
how do people not understand her reaction?
How
there?
dare her have perspective?
Have none of you smiled grimly upon realizing that you messed up something royally in your life? Like that.
Like
part's-
Look at
everything-
Pablo smiling right now.
Yeah, I know, but everything that I've accomplished and the lasting memory I'm going to leave on this soccer pitch is me missing a penalty kick. That's
Yep.
evil, as she pointed out.
Yeah.
It's an evil kind of comedy, and of course she would have that reaction, and I don't blame her.
It's a cruel way to lose, and everybody associated with soccer hates when a game goes into penalty kicks because it's a crapshoot.
It's not the game.
It's
Exactly.
a
It's not the
crapshoot. Right.
sport.
Totally. But the greatest team in history, a team going for a third World Cup, which no men or women have ever done, to lose like that, it was just diabolically shameful, I think.
But do we have?
That's aggressive.
But don't worry.
Diabolically shameful.
He gives them credit for equal rights and all that stuff. Kudos.
Yeah, kudos to them.
Well, Domonique, you can say they choked in that moment, but respect the body of work. It can be both things.
Yes.
Not if you call it diabolically shameful.
You're right.
No,
It was an odd
A
dismount.
little
the
too
loss
far.
was.
Yes,
The loss was.
Right.
And I don't backtrack on that. The way they
You don't,
lost,
but you put it on this. Not backtracking.
the way they lost was a choke job. It doesn't mean
How many different ways can you
It
say
doesn't mean that they don't deserve great credit for all they've meant to the sport. They
that's-
have
Greg,
lifted that sport.
This is why this story was a perfect story. It was something that gave everybody on every side of every issue something to bite into.
Right.
If you wanted to praise them for being the winningest team in the history of the sport, you could.
Right.
If you wanted to praise them for being chokers, you could. If you wanted to attack them for
You're not
making this
praising them,
about,
by the way, if you're calling them
Yeah,
jokers.
you're not praising them.
Criticize them.
if you wanted to
He don't know
praise
words.
them
Thanks to.
for being the victors of an equal rights battle, you could. And if you wanted to make it about how they made themselves the equal rights champions ahead of the sport that they dominated better than every other team that ever existed, you could do that too. So it was an inkblot test. You saw this thing happen. What did you want to take away from it? And a lot of people took diabolical shame, a Rorschach. And a lot of people took, this is also a standard choke job.
Slide to the left.
I feel like ridiculous that we have to talk about the people who are like being critical of them because I don't hear those people, and those people are not genuine. Like it's just it feels
You don't hear Bill
Diabolically
Simmons?
shameful.
I mean,
no. I mean criticizing them, but talking about smiling and all that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that's ridiculous.
That's just like I don't know. It feels like it's phony.
I don't know. Women should stop, smiling in public. So later in this hour, you will hear from Dwyane Wade, Hall of Famer.
yep.
He's going to host the final segment.
He's going to do something.
He can't beat me.
He's going to be our guest. Not as good as James Harden, according to Jeff Teague.
Ouch.
Who asked Jeff Teague? I mean,
The not as good thing. So, like, obviously, Dwyane Wade had a better career, and I would consider him a better player. But I think it's interesting because it parallels what Paul Pierce did, where he kind of said he's a better player than Dwyane Wade, and then everyone points to Dwyane Wade's accomplishments. But then Paul Pierce is like, but what if you put me in those situations? And you know what? If you put Paul Pierce in all those situations, I don't think that it's worse. So, like, the question is better? Who's had a better
Wait a
career or a
second.
better player?
but he
If
was in that
you
situation with
agree-
Ray Allen and Kevin
Yes.
Garnett. He won one.
If you invented Facebook, you would have invented Facebook, is my opinion on all of this.
Fair.
Like, Dwyane Wade is a convenient pincushion for people who think that if they got to be a certain version of Robin, their career would have been a lot more decorated. And I'm also now wondering, when it comes to the Hall of Fame stuff, who is Dwyane Wade's sidekick going to be? Who will literally be introducing him at this thing? Who's he picking?
AI.
Odd.
Why?
I figured it would be Riley, maybe Udonis Haslem, someone like that. UD would have been the guy. I mean,
Artificial intelligence?
That's not the answer you were looking for?
Honestly, if you would have said to me a couple months ago, what's more likely at Dwyane Wade's Hall of Fame induction, AI, artificial intelligence, or Allen Iverson, I would have said AI, artificial, because I don't even know him to have a connection with Allen Iverson.
Well, he grew up with Allen Iverson's photo and poster on his bedroom
but I don't
wall.
think any of us knew that until Wade told us
Right.
when he's inducting him.
But, that's basically his boyhood idol. So I think it makes some sense. But you're right.
Who's your boyhood idol?
Carly Ostremski and Willie Mays.
yes.
Yeah, good one. Good
But,
ones. Yeah.
Say, hey, kid.
You're right, though. To Stugotz's
Yes.
point, you would have guessed Pat Riley. He would have been the
Haslem.
go-to.
Or David Blatt?
David Blatt.
That'd be great.
Now, if you're talking about a contemporary, Carmelo Anthony is like best buds with Dwyane Wade. Like he would have been another guy who could have introduced him.
LeBron, maybe.
Chris Paul.
Why? It's the only time he'll see the Hall of Fame.
Can we do boyhood idols?
I thought Greg was going to say Moses.
He was right behind Yaz and Willie Mays. Right behind the Say Hey Kid.
I thought he was going to say the golden calf.
What kind of wood do you think the Ark was made out of?
That's a very good question. I'd like to say bamboo because bamboo is the toughest wood out there.
That was Noah, by the way.
I don't know if any
It's
of
an
you,
underrated wood. You're right.
man.
Yes.
I happen to have a beautiful mini Buddha in my backyard, Buddha bamboo, and it is such a hard wood. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. I mean, when a twig of bamboo no thicker than your thumb is almost impossible to snap when it's full grown. That's how hard it is. Okay.
Your wheelhouse.
I mean, I love bamboo. It's so exotic looking. It's beautiful. I'm shaping mine to be a tree. It's a natural bush that I'm shaping. I'm raising the canopy on it.
Right.
I can now stand under my bamboo,
Nice.
and it acts like a shade tree, which I'm very proud of.
According to Genesis chapter 6, verse 14, the ark was made of gopher wood.
Wow.
I don't even know what species of tree that's from.
I don't know either.
Figure.
God,
Nope.
man.
We're not
Gopher
gonna
wood.
do that.
Wow.
How does your bamboo tree sound in the wind?
It's funny you should say that because I had a little wind chime underneath it, and the wind chime was so loud that my back door neighbor gently complained about the noise.
Really?
Yeah.
What does a gentle complaint sound
What's it
like?
sound like? Yeah.
You know, kiddingly mentioning it, because it's right
the
near
chimes
their,
again.
right near their bedroom, and it was a wooden. In keeping with my love of wood, it was a wooden chime, and so it made sort of a hollow sounding, knocking kind of chime. It was beautiful. I loved it, but in deference to my backdoor neighbor, we retired it.
The Dwyane Wade versus James Harden or Paul Pierce conversation is probably not that interesting, but the concept itself I find kind of interesting of the player going to the Hall of Fame, and we celebrate the players, and we talk about like Joe Montana is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but his career coincided with Jerry Rice and Bill Walsh and also pre-salary cap, and no disrespect to Joe Montana, but a lot of those, I think no one would consider him the most talented quarterback. A lot of his success is he came up in a time where he was at Notre Dame. He got a lot of credit for that. And he came into the league with a reputation, with the fan base, and into a situation where he had a coaching advantage and a talent advantage to a degree because there was no player movement. And we remember him as the greatest of all time. He goes in Hall of Fame. He takes all the credit. He sticks his chest out, and we celebrate him. So I don't know if that matters to anybody, but I know the further we get away from it, it doesn't matter. You just talk about the player like the player did it all himself.
Well, this is my favorite part about what it actually means to have a legacy. We argue about legacy all the time. A legacy most often gets boiled down to like 2 words.
Yeah.
Like think about all of the greatest human
Rings
beings
is one of them,
on our
right?
planet.
By the time, so I think it starts out, you immediately
yes.
retire, and then
A
there's
long form 5,000 word Greg Cody takeout.
And every year, a couple words fall off. And then once you get far enough away, it's like, Bill Russell, 11 rings, the end.
Crisscross.
Also, social justice isn't that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Kudos.
I think the one like all-time great that could say, well, what if I had what he had is, and I can't believe I've arrived here, Marino and Montana, is Dan Marino.
Oh, yeah.
You put because I'm certain Marino thinks put me on those Niners team with that. Now he had a great coach in Shula, and he had Clayton and he had Duper, but those teams were better.
Yeah.
The 49ers.
I mean, the 49ers teams were stacked, and that was the advent of free agency really changed the way that we had the way football teams were built and the way that we remember these teams and players. And you can go back through any player's career and look at those pivotal moments that they didn't have anything to do with. I think Jordan's a great example where you think about Paxson or Kerr hitting big shots, and we all look back and say, remember that time Jordan hit that shot over Russell? Whereas, like, your legacy, and this is true of all of us in
Yes.
every walk of life, your legacy is whether you're successful enough to have a legacy, but your impact on the world and your family and life is all like contingent on a lot of other things. And I can go back through my life and retell the story where I choose events where I did something special, and that's why I've had success. Or I can go back and tell all the random lucky things that happened that put me in a successful position.
This is the through line through this entire show. We started off talking about how, when we look back at our life, there is like remember when Obama got in trouble for saying you didn't build that?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Is that a thought to be furious at because it dissolves your actual responsibility for your own greatness? Or is that something to acknowledge because, in fact, that's the only true way to describe your achievements?
And that's why we have sports, because we can throw it all out and say, rings. So what is he?
Yeah. Here's where Paul Pierce loses that argument. Dwyane Wade, without any of it, won a title on his own. No LeBron, no Pierce, no Garnett,
there's a guy
no Chris Bosh. No,
Shaq.
I know, but he won it on his own. I
Shaquille
know.
O'Neal.
But he won it on his own. He
Okay,
did.
Shaq was commanding double teams.
But he won one without a super team.
The Cavs title that LeBron won. I mean, yeah, there's an argument despite Kyrie. Greg, are you okay?
We can still hear you coughing.
I pressed my button.
Well, it's getting picked up.
He does have a
with the
button now.
microphones.
I cannot believe you used it.
Can
That
we
is-
clip that sound? I love that so much.
I was actually pressing my button.
Right? Press it again and cough. Let's see. Do you hear it?
Yes,
Yeah.
because all the other mics
All the
on
mics
are.
on.
Dad, there's other mics in the room.
Well, what's he supposed to
You
do?
can't-
Die? Like,
Thank
come
you,
on,
Billy.
like, he has to
Thank you,
cough.
Billy.
What is he did
I mean,
all he could
seriously,
do.
I did all I could do.
I can't hear that again. I need that ASAP.
While we go and fish for that sound,
Can I ask a question?
No.
And I probably shouldn't do this on air. I should do this off
we're
air,
going to
but
take
I'm
a
gonna
question
ask
from
you.
Billy, yes.
Yeah, Pablo, and I don't want to put you on the spot. I went to www.pablo.show, and
Yeah,
there is
thank you.
nothing on there still.
Not with that attitude.
When will this website be populated?
All right, fine. Tomorrow, Billy, for you,
Yeah.
I'm going to post something.
Wow.
Tomorrow.
Really?
This is the part
I
of the
finally
show.
been pushed into posting something on my own website.
Part of the
It's
show
about time.
I hate the most. It's like, okay,
www.pablo.show.
Greg Cody does not get paid for this show. His payment is that he gets to promote his podcast
The Greg Cody Show. Yeah.
It's the die on air.
featuring Greg Cody.
With.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm doing the thing.
right,
But that's fine.
Who was on this week?
Not Zach Thomas is all I've
No,
gathered.
we did not have Zach Thomas on this one.
Who do we have?
We had Morgan from Australia and Sarah Spain talking about the World Cup live from Australia.
Good gets.
And I talked about Lebo.
You're not going to go to the Contenders or Pretenders music there? That's when you're not going to do it?
Cha-cha, real smooth.
Chrissy Hine.
Produce, man.
Since the dawn of time, men have been searching for the answer to life's most important questions. Today, we finally settled the debate and crowned the human race's supreme demigod. Also, we have nothing else to talk about.
Got that right.
It is Marino Montana.
I hate Pablo Sign. I hate it. It's ridiculous and like
It could be neater.
it's not even that it's ugly and it's lazy. It's cheap. It's
beautiful
what I
and
don't
it's
appreciate.
diligent.
It's
Right.
like I have
It's
a
also
podcast.
false advertising. There's nothing
Yeah,
there.
there's no Pablo show.
Not true.
But like I
You
don't.
get
I
a
don't.
secret welcome email if you sign up. It costs $0. Pablo.show.
I just don't believe in it as a concept. It's like, hey, let me just force this in your face all the time. Make a good damn show. Like I started the show, my show wasn't good. Now it's great.
You
And
want
now-
me to do more than hang up a sign?
No, I want you to do none of it. Make a show. Hey, forget make a good show. Make a show. Make a show.
His show's much
Domonique.
better. Domonique's show has a much more clever name than yours.
It is.
That's true.
I tried to name it Zero Fox Given, but ESPN was like, advertisers won't really love that. They were like, how about you just do a segment? I was like, whatever. Let's call it the Dominique Foxworth Show.
Prudes.
Zero Fox Given. Great title, though, right?
Yes, it is.
That's a Stu-level title right there. That's a Stu-level title. You got to get a name pun, baby.
Might steal it.
I got to come on the football show you have and do
God
Zero-
bless football.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you to come on this week. And thank you for listening.
So how many foxes do you give it? It's like 1 fox, 2 fox, 0
What
foxes.
does the fox say?
Nope.
Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees.
Did you paint that, Pablo? Because it's a dangerous game criticizing that. Because if your daughter did that, then like you feel like a jerk. If you're like, yeah,
Nope.
she did the scribbles.
She did.
No.
Did she really?
Yeah.
It's
Nah,
beautiful.
They're awful scribbles. These are
gorgeous.
inconsistent scribble patterns.
This is a new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
So we were talking about how the women's national team losing in the way that they did to get eliminated by Sweden was a story in which you grabbed on and you found something explosive. You found a reason to love them, to hate them, to defend their honor, to attack them, to say that they were not being attacked enough. And that level of complexity brings me around to a story I've been meaning to talk about with somebody, and that's the Demarcus Ware National Anthem story. Because we watched Demarcus Ware sing the Star-Spangled Banner before the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. And on the one hand, there is a very real, emotional background to that I want to honor, right? He was singing this in tribute to Demaryius Thomas, his teammate. He said that this was because they would sing the anthem on the sidelines together before games. This was a tribute to his late friend. But then we actually watched him sing the anthem. And I feel like we also can say that he had one of the worst anthems I've ever seen.
You just made me feel like a jerk. Why? Because I've been ripping that performance all weekend, and now apparently it was very meaningful to him.
But
You're
both
just
things
finding out why he sang
I did.
it.
Chris. Both things, though, are true. It is true that these are chokers on behalf of America. It's true that they're the winningest players ever. It is true that this is a beautiful moment in honor of a friend. And it is true that it was horrendous.
I would say that when you're singing it on behalf of your friend and stepping outside your comfort zone to do something you're not terribly comfortable with, that there is no bad national anthem. That he did what he had to do. He got through it. It wasn't great, but he was doing it to honor a friend. And therefore, that's a great job by Demarcus Ware.
Also, teachers don't get paid enough.
Amen.
My mind went to, when I saw this, every year somebody in the induction class should be mandated to sing the national anthem. Every year, somebody that's getting inducted. Who is it this year? Is it you, Demarcus? Is it you, Zach Thomas? Somebody's got to sing the national anthem. I just like the idea of that's part of the process. It's the tradition like any other. One of you has to sing the national anthem, and they're all just like, none of us sing. Why would we do this?
It's a tradition like no other.
Yes, unlike any other.
Right?
I think that there actually, you'd be surprised, I think there'd be a rush. I think there's a lot of Louis out there. And your Hall of Fame thing is kind of, you've been away from the game for 5 years and you're reminded how you're just a normal guy and no one cares about you. So I imagine that they're like, man, can I get a little bit more shine? Let me get a little bit more shine.
You feel that 5,000-word story having compressed 2 words, and now you can get a couple bars back, a couple bars of anthem back?
I don't know. I obviously the sentimental part of that like resonated with me, and it made me look back on like all the teammates I've had that died, and I don't think I'm rare in this. It's just a uncomfortable thing to not. So I had Damian Nash was a running back on one of the Broncos team that went home, had a charity basketball tournament that he put on for his brother, and he actually died after the basketball tournament. We obviously had Darren Williams get shot in a nightclub. When I was in college, Radio Raheem, one of my teammates, got shot at a barbershop. Played in a preseason game where I think it's Thomas Harrion died in the locker room afterwards because of a heart condition. He played for the 49ers, and it just...
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot.
It feels like a lot.
You want to sing the anthem? Or?
No, see, I
thought you were clearing your throat to start singing right now.
I
He
was.
did. That was a joke.
I
And
was.
that's another fine.
Oh, I get fined for a bit? Okay, I'll take it. I'll pay it. That's all right.
$10.
Got a long break.
I
Don't
pressed
worry
my
about me. Yeah, there's.
But Dominique,
singing the national anthem is an interesting choice for anyone, given national anthems at sports.
I feel like if you're not a professional singer, you're not doing yourself any favors when you do the hand thing. You know what I mean? Where you're like trying to match the level on your hand or whatever.
One finger on the ear.
Like you see that a lot of times, like on American Idol or the X Factor or whatever, like those singing competitions where it's like someone with not a great voice always has a hand thing where they're like trying to like.
Yeah, because they're signaling to you what note they're trying to hit.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not getting there, but I need you to imagine that I got to here.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Like, I'm here, but you got to imagine I'm up here, guys.
But I don't think it helps you at all.
doesn't.
If
No.
anything, you're like, oh boy.
I would have sang. So we have to do obviously hazing type stuff at all. I mean, hazing is aggressive at all the places that I've been. And one of the things that I had to do was sing in the NFL and in college. In college, I think I did an R. Kelly song before. It was not okay to do that. And then in the NFL, I did a Shy song. I mean, there's only one. Ba-da-doo, ba-doo. Everyone knows that one, right?
Yeah.
It's great.
Duh.
The very
Greg, you got it.
first
Oh, yeah.
time
Yeah.
I saw your brown eyes, your lips said hello, and I said hi. It's a great song.
Who's your favorite person you bullied?
Ever fall in love
Roy!
again?
I pressed my button.
You're that lady's afraid.
I think I just heard some teak pop up.
What a great question by Billy.
Oh, man, I did hear it. I was singing. I was in the middle of the zone.
Right foot, let's stop.
What was the question?
I asked who the favorite person you ever bullied was.
That's a good
So I
question.
didn't bully anybody. The
Oh,
thing
yeah,
was,
no hazing. I know, whatever.
You
we
just bullied me for my sign last segment, but yeah, let's just keep that moving.
You should rip it.
My daughter's artwork.
I dare you to rip it.
Not rip
I
it.
dare you to rip his daughter's artwork
not
right in
okay.
front of his face.
she needs to be just confronted with the reality.
Sometimes you learn
that
art isn't art. You know what I mean?
Your scribbles are a little rough, but
Who
so
bullied you?
I mean, no one really bullied me because I didn't. We had the hazing stuff at every stop, and there's a couple things that I think are interesting about this. So, like my rookie year, we had rookie dinner, and then there was always get stuff for the vets. So get food and get whatever. Go take care. They get the tape cutters first, all that stuff. I complied with everything, and I started week 2. So, like, they stop messing with you when you have bigger responsibilities. But during training camp, I complied. We had a player who did not comply, so I ended up having to pay a lot for him. So the rookie dinner was the most painful part, where it's like, we don't even have no money yet, and we got to pay for a dinner for everybody, and then they do, like, asshole stuff, like they buy bottles at the restaurant. Well, you know, bottles at a restaurant are more expensive to take home. It's like, bruh, I can go get you this bottle from the store for $70, but we're going to get it for $300. So, like, that really sucked. And that was something that I made a point of the next year when I was, like, responsible for it. It's like, we're not doing this. This is just an asshole thing to do. We're not going to make the rookies pay for us to eat. Now go get our stuff, whatever, bring chicken to the airport. All that sort of stuff is fine. But the thing that I really appreciate when I signed with the Ravens is we talk a lot about culture of organizations, and I think we all will accept that the Ravens have one of the best, like, sports cultures. And one of the things that they did that I liked, and I'm going to steal from my flag football coaching,
Right.
they would do this thing called HIM. And you can find out stories like this and other great stories on my podcast, the Domonique Foxworth Show.
I don't know how you were able to survive your rookie year with that $660,000 salary.
I barely. So we
How
had
dare they ask you to pay for a dinner?
So the salary is paid out over 17 weeks.
That signing bonus, though.
Yeah, I had a signing bonus.
That $430.
Yeah, it's nice. It's paid out over several weeks, but you had to pay up front.
Oh,
but anyway.
those checks for $80K coming in, man, that's just.
You made $9 million in 2010.
How'd
You're
you live?
rich.
They've been Googling you all show.
Yeah.
So when I was with the Ravens, and the thing that I want to bring over is there's a culture of, like, everybody's kind of at the same level, and they do this thing where when you get there, they call it HIM. And so when you come into the locker room or you come into the meeting room for the first time and they're like, hey, we got a new guy, new coach, a new player, signed free agent or a rookie, and someone says, let's give him a HIM. And everyone's like, all right. So you stand up and you got to tell them your name and where you're from. And so I stood up, Domonique Foxworth. I went to Maryland. And if you're a free agent, how much you sign for? Free agent, how much you sign for? And then one of the leaders of the team will say, HIM. And then everyone else joins in, HIM. HIM. And then we move on. And everybody does it. And I think that my flag football team needs to do that. I think it establishes that it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where
How
you
old are
came
these
from.
kids?
It doesn't 10. It doesn't matter how much you signed for. It doesn't matter what you did before. You are a HIM, just like the rest of us are HIMs.
No, okay.
No.
Well, we need
Thought
a new
everyone
person.
was doing
We
it
got to
together.
do this
No.
together if we're going to do it, Chris.
Who are we talking about?
Well, we got to get somebody to introduce themselves.
Greg?
Hey, I'm Greg Cody, born in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
HIM.
Oh.
Thank you. I hope Ray Lewis doesn't get mad at me for stealing this.
Freeze!
Shocking it was
Everybody
Ray.
clap your hands.
Come on now.
Why are we doing this?
I don't know. Why.
Why not? Do you not like a good line dance?
DJ Casper, the man who created the cha-cha slide, passed away yesterday. And this is an opportunity to pay tribute to the one and only DJ Casper.
R.I.P.
Okay, then.
I knew that.
Rest in power.
He's now a ghost.
You notice it,
Casper.
mate?
Top 5 ghosts.
Casper the ghost.
Now he is a ghost.
Good job, Greg.
Pretender or contender?
Full circle.
Cruising USA.
DJ Casper, pretender or contender?
Oh, contender. I mean, electric slide. Move over.
Respect.
Cha-cha.
Yep.
Real smooth now. What's the other one? Oh, Cupid Shuffle?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the best one?
Cha-cha
They're all
slide
pretty bad.
for sure.
Electric slide.
I think you got to go cha-cha. On today. Today's the day you go cha-cha. Cha-cha's contender.
Indianapolis Colts,
Oh, wow.
pretender or contender?
Tough conference. No easy division, though. It's,
really hard conference.
it's young quarterback.
Yes.
Stacked
New
conference.
coach. Running back issues.
Top to bottom, that conference is tough.
It's going to be tough. I'm going to go pretender.
Easy division, though.
Stugotz?
I did it. What do you mean?
You already did it, yeah.
I already did it.
Ditto.
Give him the Chargers.
The Chargers, Stugotz,
wow.
pretender or contender?
They are contenders. Tough conference, good quarterback. Quarterback needs to show us a little something. Austin Eckler has like 75 touchdowns over the last 2 years and still only being paid like $2.5 million a year. But they are a good team, a talented team, wrong conference, but they are a contender.
Greg's Lobos, pretender or contender?
Yeah! Woo!
Answer the question.
When's the draft?
February.
Pretender or contender?
Real tough
February.
league. It's a
Dad,
tough league.
February
February
3rd?
3rd.
Right after
What
the Super Bowl.
did
Billy.
you just say?
The fantasy draft
I
should
mean
not
September.
There you go. Yeah.
Pretender or contender?
Oh, contender, of course.
What's your draft strategy? Do you have a draft strategy?
Did you guys catch
Yeah, I
Dan opening the door, sticking his head in, and saying,
trying to
"No"?
learn draft strategy.
No, I didn't see that.
You
No.
can still hear Dan screaming.
My draft strategy?
The new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.